Welcome to the Spinning Our Gears podcast. Before we begin, a quick reminder. All views, issues, and opinions are solely those of the hosts and their guests and do not reflect the opinions or positions of any department, agency, city, county, municipality, state, or country, or any other organization. This show is rated E for explicit. Listening and viewer discretion is highly advised. Spinning Our Gears is a law enforcement leadership and mental health podcast. We confront the issues and conversations others are afraid to deal with. Leadership failures, the culture within law enforcement, accountability, and the realities of life on and off the job. You can find us on YouTube, all of the major podcasting platforms and social media outlets, as well as online at spinningourgears.com. And now, without further fanfare, this is the Spinning Our Gears podcast.
Spinning our gears. Admin talks and broken plans, doing the best that we can. Jokes on shift, truth off mic, trying to live a normal life. Mental health ain't weakness, no, it's the stuff we learn as we go. Say it out loud, make it clear, this job don't own us here. So tune it in, don't disappear when it all gets heavy here. Real talk, real voices clear, spinning our gears, podcast is here.
All right, it's well, welcome back, Warriors. It is Turk from the Spinning Our Gears podcast. We have a very, very fun episode coming your way. If you couldn't tell, we were already talking before we hit the record button. One of the things that I got to stop doing is saying I'm very excited for this guest because it makes it sound like the last several guests I wasn't excited for. But
Right.
This one I am excited for because a lot of the viewpoints align with ours. This guy doesn't hold any punches, and we'll get into it a little bit further. But we have Rich Creamer from the Responder Reset podcast. How's it going, buddy?
Turk, thanks for having me, buddy. I know that this is it's been a couple times where we tried to make this happen. So,
Hey, man, life happens. First responder life happens. I totally get it.
Absolutely. But thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So Rich does the Responder Reset podcast, and this is one of those things where, a viewer sent me a clip from social media, and I watched it, and I was immediately enthralled. You got this dude with this magnificent beard behind a desk, looking like a TV interrogation, and I think one of the first words out of his mouth were, "Leaders, y'all are messing up, and you're messing up in the mental health world," and I was immediately brought in, and I was like, yep, this is the guy we're going to have on the show.
I actually think it was you fuck it up, not mess it up, Turk.
So I'm trying to do the best that I can to not swear anymore. I can't exactly drop that myself. I can't put the money in the swear jar, but I think those were the exact words.
Yeah. It's one of the things we like to, and we talked about this a little bit before we got on here, is it's easier to point the finger at everybody that else, right? And I see leadership doing that with people, saying, "Oh, well, they got to be held accountable." Well, who's holding you accountable? Like who? At the end of the day, I think most of our leadership are dealing with their own shit, and they haven't really dealt with their own shit, so they're projecting their shit onto everybody with their either no decision making or indecisions or bad decisions, whatever you want to
Keep rolling.
say. Right, whatever you want to say, right? So I mean, I think that if we can get the leadership to, I hate the term buy in, but buy into maybe leading with a little bit more empathy or leading a little bit more trauma informed. I think
with the spine.
Yeah, with the spine too. With the spine too. We can't always point the finger all the way up the flagpole and say, this decision's coming from the high of highs when that's the easy way of making decisions, right?
Right. So the Spinning Our Gears podcast and some of our brother and sister podcasts have always been about, we don't pull punches, we say it like it is. For the last 5-10 years, we've been doing this and getting our lashings along the way. a lot of the other shows that we've seen have been very vanilla. They've been very, this is the gun that I carry and the handcuffs that I carry. And oh, by the way, if you need help, there's EAP out there. Finally, a show has come along that's kind of like us, that doesn't pull the punches. But what I really liked and what I really noticed is that you kind of took the ADHD out of it. You kind of go on rants and raves. You have put it succinctly into what you've called the 7 deadly sins of the mental health world. I want to know, was this something that Rich sat down and just started, hey, what are the things we're having problems with? And it ended up being 7 of them. How did we find the 7 deadly sins?
That's a great question. I had always thought that there were some serious issues within the public safety wellness space, and one of my favorite movies is Seven. So I wanted to kind of fill it into that same mold, but I wanted to do it in such a way that one led to the next, which led to the next, and then obviously the end. Being family silence is probably one of the biggest sins that we have. You know, we climb the ladder of these sins, and then once we get there, that's where I think the fucking wheels start to fall off.
Right. Well, yeah, like I said, as someone who wrote a book and who's done this show for 5 years, we'll start on a topic and then we'll just totally go off on a tangent and forget the topic that we were talking about. Rich has done so far 7 episodes. He did an introductory episode, but then 7 episodes where he talked about what he feels are the deadly sins of first responder mental health and wellness issues. And I listened to him in probably a day. It had me captured from the first part all the way to the last part. And each episode, I would be like, that's it right there. And I'd pull it out and I'd take a note. But then he also does what he calls the reset at the end of the show, which is very important. Episode 1 was about complacency, and you talk about how it's not just tactics on the street, it's mental health and peer support as well. And what I pull out of that was doing this thing for 15, almost 16 years in law enforcement, never had a proactive peer support. I want to know what that means to you, what it looks like, and where the complacency thing came from.
Yeah, so luckily for me, I've been retired now. It'll be almost 4 years. But I've been able to kind of travel the country and help build out programs and actually talk to boots on the ground folks. And a lot of the times when I go in, I'll meet with their peer team and I'll ask what other trainings that they've had. And usually they've had either a 40-hour course or, a 28-hour course with ICISF, whatever it is. And that's it. They'll get the certification, they'll get back to their agency, and they'll sit on their hands waiting for something bad to happen. They'll wait for the bad thing to happen. And I'm not saying that they're not responsive to that. I'm saying that we can do so much more upfront to where it's not this adversarial, to where when Rich shows up after Turk is involved in an incident, it's not, fuck, here comes Rich. It's more so, oh shit, Rich is here. Good. Someone that I trust, someone that I've talked to before. I know he's going to look out for my best interests. Those are the conversations that should be happening when we get into this. And I think, not only individually we get complacent with that, but I think it kind of sets the tone for the peer team. If nobody else is actually out there doing these regular, just showing up. I say it a lot, and it's that's what it is. Showing up when things are going good. Just kind of being there when things are going good. Just having conversations in the hallway instead of the head nods. Like actually building connection over time. It's easy just to say that, hey, I'm on the peer team, and I'll respond, and I'll do the debrief, and maybe I'll follow up with the referral or with the resource. But if you're not actually doing the work up front, it isn't going to fucking matter what you got on paper. And that's where the complacency, that first one, really came into play, because I think that really sets the tone for the agency.
And we talked about it a little bit before hopping on, that if you're that guy that was just like, hey, I get to go away for 40 hours and get this training, and if you're one of those people that 7 days a week, you're looking to stick it in the back of somebody as opposed to help them out, when it comes time for that incident, what good are you? The guys are not going to feel comfortable coming to you and talking to you because they don't trust you at the end of the day. The other thing that you mentioned was, they take this 40-hour class and that's it. They just sit on it. You take 40, 60 hours of firearms in the academy. What do you do the whole rest of your career? You practice it and you prepare for it. So when it happens, that incident happens, you're ready for it. On the back end, we need to have people that are ready to step up and peer support. And if you just took a 40-hour class and you're not living it, you're not going to be prepared. You're going to fall flat on your face.
And that's one of the big things that I try to drive home is, when I'm actually teaching these courses, I teach these courses all over too. And one of the big things is I say, you're not there to fix them and you're not a clinician. I said, at the end of the day, you need to still model a certain behavior that you're asking these people to kind of fall into. If they look at you and you're a hot bag of shit, they're not gonna be like, oh, this guy's gonna give me life advice. You know what I mean? Like, it just isn't gonna work. Like, you have to kind of walk the walk. You have to be able to be, just a little bit vulnerable at times. It doesn't have to always be. But number one, what I've also seen with the complacency is it starts to become about the fucking peer. It becomes, Turk struggling with whatever Turk's struggling with. But okay, well, let me tell you how bad my fucking struggle was. You know what I mean? So that's where the complacency, and I really wanted to start the series with that, because I think everyone can kind of see it, in their agency and stuff like that. They know the people that they can trust, and they also know the people that are wearing the title that they would never fucking tell them where they went shopping the night before, let alone their deepest, darkest secrets.
Well, and there's some serious legality issues with these programs where there has to be that trust. There's this person cannot testify against you in court because they're your peer support person, but again, yeah, like you said, if you wouldn't tell them what you had for lunch the day before because they're going to go around telling everybody that you were eating unhealthy or that you got problems at home or whatever it is, how are you going to trust them when your back's against the wall and you're facing one of the worst things you've seen in your entire career? Exactly.
And we just have to do a better job of unassing ourselves. And
yeah.
like you said, just, it's an excellent example is with firearms, DT, legal updates, all the stuff that we have to do to continue our career. We try to stay ahead of it, right? But we do a shit job trying to stay ahead of our mental health. Specifically, our peers, we have to make sure that we're modeling a certain behavior. Like we don't need to be choir boys. I'm not asking you to be a fucking choir boy. I'm just asking you, when someone is looking across from you, they know that whatever you're saying, you've either experienced it and battled through it, or are currently on that journey, whatever it is, but you're actually doing the work. You can't just talk about it.
And that leads into episode number 2, which was being authentic versus inauthentic. A couple things that you hit on there that I liked were the first one we've kind of been talking about, the performative help versus actual authentic caring, because so many of these agencies just want to have that title. Yeah, we have a peer support here. But then you also talk about the business model that is this career field of mental health awareness. We're seeing a lot of bad things. We talked about it a little bit beforehand, but give me a couple riches.
Yeah, I mean, I think we see it. I think everybody kind of gets into this space, and I've been told that I shouldn't use that word, but gets into the industry,
right?
For the right reasons. Whether it's they have a story of resilience that they want to share, whether it's, their belief that, they can help drive policy change, whatever it is, they get into it for that reason. And I think over time, the corporate dollar tends to weasel their way in. And when the corporate dollar weasels its way in, you become a little bit more stifled. You become a little bit less authentic. You become more performative with your messaging, and it becomes, my buddy says it best. It becomes a fucking Morgan Wallen show every time you go to a conference. The fucking lights, the fucking smoke. Some fucking idiot up on stage telling everybody just how fucked up they are, and no fucking no resources, no actual end game to the story besides meet me in the hallway and I'll sign a fucking book for you.
Yes.
You know, that's the big thing with the inauthentic support. I can get on the fucking internet, I can fucking get on here and tell everybody that I'm the best fucking peer supporter in the world. And everybody, you know, they can make their own fucking decision whether or not they believe it or not. But if you have a following and you have this fucking quote unquote mental health tour, right? People are gonna be drawn to what you're saying. You could say that fucking whatever, and people are gonna fucking buy into it. And I think that is another major fucking issue when it comes to wellness.
And, you know, when you see these guys that hop up on seminars and the first 10 minutes is PowerPoint slides of them proving why they should be in front of you and all of their titles and their classes that they've gone through, I think the real first responders out there immediately tune it off.
Yeah.
Right? If you're talking about the hash marks on your arm, I already know what you're about, and I'm not going to listen to you. That's why I like a lot of what you're doing. You don't sit there and go, I have this degree, I've been through this, I've been through that. You have
go Google it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you want to do some research on me, go Google it. Like, I'm on enough platforms where all that shit is available to anybody.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't have to lead with it. You know what I mean? Like, and you know, do I speak? Yes. Do I think I do it a little bit differently? Absolutely. You know, I'm not, number one, I'm not there for me. I'm there for everybody that's in the audience. And if it helps one person, that's all that fucking matters to me. Whether it's 10 people in the audience or 900. If I help one person, that's all I care about. And I don't have a book. I'm not selling anything. You know, it is what it is. I just think we've gotten so far to the right with a lot of these things that the message has been fucking watered down.
Yes. And again, the first responder mental health wellness niche has become a very big profitable thing.
Absolutely.
One of the things that I've complained about last episode actually was we are seeing so many people go out there and say, I'm a psychiatrist or a therapist that specializes in first responder wellness, and then you start finding out they have no connection to it. Yeah. The one that I had a real big problem was, and I think this person may have actually been a spouse to a first responder, but they were going on social media and they were talking about how they figured it out. It's a leadership problem. That's where all this is stemming from. But if you want to find the answer, you know, tune in or subscribe or do this or do that, and that's a big problem.
No, absolutely. And I'm gonna you know, kick our own for a minute. But you know, the same people that 10 years ago couldn't be found. Look to the left or right of me. These were the same folks that were fucking shitting on it and not believing in it. They may have gotten their own help. They may have, you know, started their own journey as they made their way into retirement or prior to retirement, and then all of a sudden, you know, they learn a couple skills from their 30 to 45 day stay, and they bring it back and they market it as a fucking coaching expedition. You know, like I said, I don't need you to fucking coach me, dude. Like, I'm good. Trust me, I'm a work in progress too. I don't have it figured out. I am not a healed person. And I'll be the first one to tell you that. But all these people that jump on here and have the number one fucking solution, if we just jump on a Zoom with them, Turk, once a month for $2.99.
For about $500.
Yeah, for $299, you can jump on a fucking Zoom with me, so I can tell you to stop eating fucking Doritos and work out.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, come on, dude.
You know, big surprise here. The answer is this: sometimes it's just grabbing your buddy's hand and pulling him out of the mud and letting them know that you're their support and it's going to be all right. Yeah, it's
called being a fucking mentor. It's called being a good friend. Yes. And I don't need to get paid to be a fucking good friend.
And I shouldn't only trust you when we're going to gunfire. I should be able to trust you every day of the week in those four walls that we count as sacred. Rolling into the deadly sin number 3, I'm going to let you roll on this one because it is something that we've talked about here. There's a certain term that has been preached for years now to the point where it's not even a thing and we need to move on.
Mm-hmm.
Give it to me. What is the word that we got to kill?
Stigma. Stigma's been a thorn in my side for a while. I feel like we use it as a crutch. I feel like I could get an audience of 300 cops in a room, firefighters, whatever, and there'd be a very small number that could actually give me the fucking definition of what the term means.
Right.
They just use it because it's easy to go, oh, I didn't, the stigma, or the leadership goes, oh, they didn't come to us because of the stigma. No, they didn't come to you.
Throw a hashtag in front of it.
Yeah, they didn't fucking come to you because they don't trust you. And
right.
You know, there are other barriers that lead to the stigma. Like if you know the definition of it, yeah, I can agree that yes, there are things that are in place and barriers in place that prevent people from getting the help that they need. Why don't we just fucking name those barriers for what they are?
Right.
You know, name the barriers. And then if we can name the barriers, then we can work on those barriers and start tearing down those fucking barriers. You know, the biggest one being trust. The next closest one is connection. You know, we can if we build on those two things as an agency, I would guarantee you there'll be no fucking quote unquote stigma when it comes to mental health.
Preach on, absolutely. And here's the thing: we are in a culture and a society in 2026. You can't drive 2 minutes down a friggin' interstate. You can't throw a rock anywhere on social media without something mental health popping up. And this awareness that mental health is a thing, everyone goes through it. We've been going through it since the dawn of time. We will be going through it until this world ends. There is no more stigma around mental health. It is a normal thing. You have officers going out there with CIT training, talking someone through a mental health crisis, understanding what it's about, this idea that there is a stigma around it and people are afraid to come forward. Maybe in small instances, yes, there is some people dealing with it, but for a wide variety of this world, stigma in mental health is no longer a thing.
Well, it's become a marketing term. You know, I can throw it on a T-shirt, I can throw it on a banner, I can throw it wherever I can throw it, and I can mock it to smash the stigma or whatever the phrase is or the hashtag is. To your point, Turk, like if you don't know that the job is going to impact your fucking mental health, then you've been living under a rock. You know, you've been literally living under a rock. And I think, you know, education plays a huge role into this, you know, because if I tell Turk what Turk can expect and what anxiety looks like and what depression looks like and what some symptoms of PTS looks like up front, very much up front. I'm talking academy. I'm talking like first couple of years of service, in services and stuff like that. I've now labeled it. And fucking cops love to know what it is, and public safety members love to know what it is on the front end instead of trying to figure out what it is on the back end. So yes, we can quote unquote smash the stigma if we actually start smashing down the barriers that are causing that stigma.
Well, and you know, kind of ties in everything else, and you know, being authentic and everything, but I think that this word stigma and crutch is actually a complete restrictor plate to us because it is holding us where we're at right now. And all of these agencies want to smash the stigma and have mental health awareness. But where are we going to go from there?
Yeah,
that's the problem that we're having is where do we take it?
Right. Fuck awareness at this point. Like if we're not going to start taking action, then I'll be back on this show in 10 years, Turk, and we'll be talking about the same fucking shit. And that, you know, it's this hamster wheel, wheel of wellness. You know, we want to just we want to stay comfortable, and we just want to go round and round in circles, and that's what's comfortable. And it's guys like you and it's guys like me that want to stick a fucking, you know, stick the stick in the spoke to fucking stop it for a second and go, hey, enough's enough. Like, how long are we going to play this game?
Right. And the issue is that there are people like us and other shows out there that are trying to stop that issue and move forward and call people out. That leads to the next deadly sin, which is gatekeeping, because as soon as you start telling someone what's wrong, they take offense to it, and they start kicking it back to you. One of the things that you said that I really, really took to heart was anytime someone feels threatened, when someone else who's real shows up, it should tell you all you need to know about that person and that leader. Really struck a chord, and absolutely, if they're looking to stab you in the back because you're telling them something is wrong, that's the biggest issue you have to address right there.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you have gatekeeping within the organization, you have gatekeeping within this industry, and I think, you know, to your point, you have folks that are uncomfortable with the hard truths, and that, you know, that's just not it's not the line they want to go down. They want to be in their safe little spot where they could talk about you know, education and all the things that we're doing right, and that's great. I'm not shitting completely on it. Like I understand that we've come a long way, and there's been a lot of education, there's been a lot of awareness, and there's been a lot of things done. But what the fuck are we doing now with it? Like what that exactly. My question now is what are we doing? What now? So like when you start questioning, you start running into these people that, you know, thou shall not pass. Like you can't come talk to my agency about my poor leadership skills or my fragile leadership. You can't talk to my agency about that because it's going to hurt my feelings. It's going to bother me. It's going to expose me. You can't talk about this over here because it could expose the real reason why I'm doing this.
Why our guys are killing themselves and leaving the agency. And that was the other part that you brought up, was the fact that so many of these agencies that are bringing in people, they're going to spend the first 2-3 days with the chief or with the sheriff or the captains or whatever, and it's going to be made very clear right away who's paying the paycheck. And then by the time that therapist or that counselor finally hits overnights, they've already been so warped and so jaded because the leader's gatekeeping them and they don't want to get called out.
Yeah, I mean, I could go down another parallel here. Like we see it I mean, we see it all the time with promotions. I mean, do we not bring in outside entities to do the promotional process?
Right.
We do. Those outside.
Some places do, yeah.
Yeah. So some places
don't, though.
Those outside entities. But what I'm saying is those outside entities do exactly what you said, Turk. They meet with the chief. They meet with city council. They meet with decision makers as to what they're looking for.
Right.
May not be looking for the best candidate. They may be looking for something that fits a narrative. And I think that's what we're seeing in the wellness space is it may not be the best person to put in front of your agency. We're just looking for you to kind of stick with the smash the stigma narrative or the awareness narrative. Like we're not going to do anything. And what I say, Turk, all the time is it's easier to manage the status quo. And you know, I can hand the sergeant, I can hand the lieutenant, I can hand a captain, I can hand a chief a playbook. And if I tell them to follow the playbook and not to deviate, and don't let little innovative Rich over here kind of put new ideas in your head because we want you to promote. You start going down this innovative path. That's work. I can't have you doing extra work. I just need you to stay doing the status quo. And that's another whole issue within the gatekeeping is status quo. No, let's not ruffle any feathers. Let's not make any waves. And if somebody that is making waves, we can't have them kind of come into the fold. And that's within the industry, that's within the organization, and sometimes within individual relationships.
Well, you know, we're going to bring in a Rich that we're going to have ride with you and talk to you. But next month, we're going to have Lieutenant Smith and Captain Johnson from these agencies who I just took you out to lunch with. They're going to be on your interview panel for the sergeant or lieutenant or whatever it is. Just remember that as we move forward.
It's spinning again. Yes, spinning again. The threats, the laughs, the blood, the tears. Hard days, long years. We talk it out, face the fears. If it's been keeping you up at night, you're not the only one here. It's spinning our gears. talks and broken plans, doing the best that we can. Jokes on shift, truth off mic, trying to live a normal life. Mental health ain't weakness, no, it's the stuff we learn as we go. Say it out loud, make it clear, this job don't own us here. So tune it in, don't disappear when it all gets heavy here. Real talk, real voices clear, spinning our gears, podcast is here. It's spinning our gears.